Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time. It's time for another round of the 7 round mock draft series. If you don't know, I'm Dom C of Project Prospect. Let me get a little housekeeping out of the way. Please, if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment. Let's build some friendly discourse on these videos that I've been putting out, and definitely hit the bell for notifications. It helps YouTube algorithm and helps me jump up a couple rungs in the ladder on the YouTube algorithm so that my content can go out to the masses. I'd really appreciate it. It helps me a whole lot. But I digress. Back to what we're here to do, and let's talk about some mock drafts. I talked about the Jets already last week, and I'm going to continue in the AFC East this week and talk about the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins are in a unique situation. They're about $48 million over the cap. So before March 1st, there's going to be a lot of juggling that the Dolphins have to do. On top of that, they, probably are going to figure out a way to re-sign Tua Tagovailoa to a long-term, big-time money contract. Now, how does that fit into a team that's already $48 million over the cap? Well, there's going to be a lot of salary cap gymnastics done by the Dolphins this offseason. But, you know, just from a very high view, they have a lot of needs, a lot of holes that they're going to have to fill. Obviously, the biggest is probably on the defensive line with Christian Wilkins being a free agent. I fully expect him to come back and, sign a long-term deal, probably something that's very cap friendly over 24, 25. They have holes all over the offensive line with free agents Isaiah Wynn, Connor Williams, Robert Hunt. The wide receiver core is going to be kind of reinvigorated, I'm assuming, because gone are the names of River Craycraft, Robbie the Chosen One Anderson, Cedric Wilson, Braxton Berrios, all free agents. There's other players that took a lot of snaps during the 2023 season that are also up for free agency. Some of them will probably see back, but some of them not. In the likes of linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel, safety Deshaun Elliott, cornerback Eli Apple, to say just to name a few. There's a lot of this roster of Miami's, which they had a very good team in 2023, is going to look a lot different come 2024. So this should be an interesting 7-round mock. So why don't I go ahead and bring up the mock draft simulator. So here we are where the Dolphins, where they have the 21st pick. I have it set at 7 rounds, as you see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this draft, but if you look at the Dolphins draft picks right here, as it's constituted right now, they have a first rounder, they have a second rounder, and they don't pick again until the 5th round. So they're void a 3rd and a 4th round. They're probably, with all the holes and the limited space that they're going to have, and with all this juggling they're going to have to do with salary cap, they're going to probably want some bodies in here relatively cheap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this pre-draft just so I don't have to stop the simulation, halfway through or in process to do it. I'm going to go ahead and make a trade. I'm going to have the Dolphins trade back. I'm going to have the Dolphins trade back with the Detroit Lions. So they're jumping back from 21 to 29, and in return, they're going to get a 3rd round pick from Detroit, which is courtesy of Minnesota, number 73. But they're also going to give up a 6th round pick that they got from Chicago, and that's 186. So I'm going to go ahead and offer this. It should be accepted, and it is. And we're going to start this draft. And right off the bat, the Dolphins are up at 29. So couple different areas, like I said, that make sense for me. They're going to need another safety in that room. They're going to need definitely some offensive linemen. I think wide receiver is also another sneaky need. On top of that, you also got to remember they have some major injuries that they're dealing with, right? Jalen Phillips is going to be out for a while, so I don't know when he's going to come back. Connor Williams also hurt. I don't know if or when he's going to come back. So there's a lot of different ways you can go here for the Dolphins. I'm going to probably stick consistent, and I do want to preface by saying PFF rankings of these prospects are kind of cockeyed, if you ask me. So please don't mind, the actual PFF rank, because I don't think it's really relative to where the player is truly ranked or where they're going to get drafted. So you might see me digging low for some guys, but that's just because PFF hasn't changed the rankings. But here we are at 29. And like I said, Robert Hunt's a free agent. I know that, he's one of the big interior offensive linemen that everyone is pining for. You hope to bring him back, but there's just a lot of balls in the air, and I just don't know if it's really going to happen. On top of that, Liam Eichenberg, who filled in, at center and guard is, probably less than serviceable, less than average. Isaiah Wynn's another guy who played a lot of snaps, and he's also a free agent. To me, I think the interior of the line is where you got to look first and foremost. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take, although he's listed as a tackle because he played tackle the last 2 years at Duke, I'm going to go ahead and take Graham Barton. Barton, to me, is the one big. There's two big things that I love about Graham Barton. One, I think he's a very high floor player. I don't think that I think you're going to get a good player right from the get go. Some athletic limitations, so he might not have the ceiling of some of these other guys in this draft class in the interior. But what he does offer is versatility. He came into Duke as a center. So he took snaps at center, he took snaps at guard, he took snaps at right and left tackle, and he kind of settled over the past year and a half at left tackle for Duke. I think he's definitely, with arm length and some other, physical limitations, athletic limitations. I think he's definitely going to kind of, hone in and be an interior offensive lineman in the NFL. Now, whether that's at guard or center, I think he's got the versatility to play all three spots. So for me, that alone, on tied in with the talent that he has, in the ferocity that he offers in the run blocking, the skills that he has, a very high IQ player, plays with his head on a swivel, can pick up stunts, blitz, twists, the whole nine. Very heady football player. I think he would be a perfect fit here for the Dolphins. And you know what? You don't have to even give him a position yet. You can line him up on the interior, and wherever you have a hole after free agency begins, you can plug him in, whether it's left guard, center, right guard. Graham Barton's going to be my pick here for the Dolphins. And it leads us up into pick number 53. For me, like I said, you look at the Dolphins and the Mike McDaniel offense, and it's predicated on guys who are just faster than others. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm looking in the wide receiver room. And for me, there's one guy that just has Miami Dolphins written all over him. And that's Xavier Worthy out of Texas. To me, I think he can come in and he can immediately start in the slot. And then you're just putting like top end speed on the field between Tyreek Hill and Devin A. Shane and Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy can win at all three levels. He can get separation. I think with Tyreek Hill kind of ending, coming closer to the end of his contract. Still don't know what's happening with Jalen Waddle. Again, another guy I'm sure they're going to want to lock up long term, but he's not there yet, not up yet. They're going to have to make a decision. With the holes that they have in the wide receiver room, to me, I think it's something that has to be addressed sooner rather than later. And like I said, the speed and the quickness and the ball skills that Xavier Worthy plays for, he is an absolute fit for this Miami Dolphins team, and I'm going to soak him up here at 53. And that leads me up to 73, which is the pick we got from Detroit. Oh, man, Brandon Dorlus just went before me. He was a guy I was definitely targeting. A couple different ways you can go again, right? We talked about the safety room. They need to bring in some depth in that room. We talked about the holes in the interior line. We talked about the holes in the linebacker room and defensive backs as well. Eli Apple's a free agent. I'm assuming they're going to move off of X at cornerback. So that's another area that I think you can address. And that's exactly what I'm going to do here with Jarvis Brownlee Jr. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. is a guy who really, really stepped up his game during the Senior Bowl and made a name for himself. This, to me, this third round range is exactly where he's going to go. He's, he's big. He's got length. He's physical. He's he wants to get up there and he plays like a dog. He's a true press man corner. I personally think he can also really excel in the slot, if asked, but at nothing more here. You got a guy that's going to be inside, outside, versatile in Jarvis Brownlee. Sticky in man coverage, physical, can come up and hit, can help in run support. For me, this would be a home run pick here for the Dolphins. So Jarvis Brownlee, the first defensive player off the board here in this 2024 mock draft for the Dolphins. And we got some time here before our next pick, which comes in round 5 at pick 155. Still a bunch of holes to fill. One of them that I think I'm definitely going to look at is probably right now, the tight end room with Durham Smythe and Julian Hill. Tyler Croft is a free agent. There's nothing to write home. They didn't get a lot of production out of Smythe. So I'm going to go ahead and lock down a guy who I have very high on my board. He's probably the third or fourth ranked tight end, and that's the 6'6", 260-pound Theo Johnson. He's a guy that you can play in line. He's a guy that you can flex out. He's a guy that you can play as an H-back. Again, another versatile weapon, strong, big. He's got a frame that can take on more size if you want him to, but he's still agile, runs good routes, great hands. Another guy that I thought really impressed at the Senior Bowl. He caught just about everything that was thrown his way. Probably, in my opinion, the best tight end all week down in Mobile. So Theo Johnson's gonna, he's gonna push. He's going to push for a tight end 1 right off the bat, if you ask me. So Theo Johnson's going to be my pick here for the Dolphins. Leads us to 2 later picks, 199 and 239. Still a bunch of holes to fill. Still a bunch of areas to pick. And the safety rooms does need to get addressed. So I'm going to go ahead and pop down here. And for me, I'm not going to look anymore. Again, I'm not looking at the ranking. I'm looking at the player. And Keaton Oladipo out of Oregon State is that typical strong safety. He moves very well, comes downhill fast, physical player, can line up and man up in slot. Definitely a good, does his best work in the box supporting the run, but can flip his hips and get back there. Has some more versatility. He's not a guy I'd probably want to leave in center field. On an island all by himself. That's just not his game. But, for that, run supporting, strong safety type that can take guys out of the backfield, that can man up on the tight ends, and even agile and physical enough to take slot receivers, off the line, out of their routes, so on and so forth. Keaton Oladipo is a guy that a lot of people are sleeping on. I think he's going to be a phenomenal player. I think he's going to probably be a better pro than he was in college. So Keaton Oladipo out of Oregon State, welcome to the safety room, man. And I'd love to see him next to Javon Holland and just see them work in unison. And that leads us with the last pick here for the Dolphins at 239. A bunch of different ways you can get. And it's again, at the 7th round, you're looking for somebody that can offer some depth, right? And we talked about some of the holes that the Dolphins have all along defense. Jerome Baker, David Long, Duke Riley, guys that, I don't think they played up to the level that they were expected to play. So I'm going to go ahead and take, the leading tackler out of the SEC, Nathaniel Watson. Big body, your typical, quote unquote 3-4 inside linebacker, plays the run, stacks and sheds very good, always has a nose for the football, and not the most agile, not the most fleet of foot. So he's not a guy that you want, running in man coverage left and right with running backs out of the backfield, but, a guy that can, find and settle in a zone and hang and maintain as much or maintain his role in that, zone scheme during the pass sets. But again, this is a guy that is definitely going to, make his money playing the run and being that physical presence. Again, led the SEC in tackles, linebacker of the year over the past 2 years down at Mississippi State. Just a football player. And again, in the 7th round here, you're looking to build some depth. You're looking for some guys that can probably, fill a role, a depth role with, the projection or the arrow pointing up to eventually take on a starting role down the road, can offer something on special teams. And that's exactly what Nathaniel Watson can do. Like I said, I don't know the contract situations of the guys that they have there in the linebacker room already. But this is a guy that Nathaniel Watson, you can bring in. He can offer you something, for a few plays on defense right off the bat. Definitely offer you something on special teams with that, kind of marinating and ready to take over a bigger role, whether it be in 2025 or 26. So Nathaniel Watson is going to be my pick here in the 7th round for the Miami Dolphins. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot down, some of these holes that we filled. Like I said, interior offensive lineman Graham Barton out of Duke is my first pick at number 29. I then followed up with the speed demon, wide receiver extraordinaire, if you will, Xavier Worthy out of the University of Texas, here to step in and just add another element of speed for Mike McDaniel's offense. I love it. You're getting a physical guy in Jarvis Brownlee to play defensive back, whether it's inside, outside, doesn't matter. I think this guy is going to be a ball player. Theo Johnson, the tight end, big target out of Penn State in round 5. Followed that up with Keaton Oladipo from Oregon State, strong safety, big hitter, guy flies all over the field, up and down, and finish it up with Nathaniel Watson, short tackler, run stuffing, nose to the football, lunch pail kind of linebacker here to bring a little bit of attitude to this Miami Dolphins defense. Listen, 6 picks is what we were working with. It's not a lot. I definitely expect Miami to be probably one of the more active teams come draft day. Again, they have a lot of juggling to do with that salary cap, but the foundation of a really, really good football team is already in place. Now they just need to, add some depth, replenish some depth pieces, and sky's the limit for them. So, Dolphin fans, let me know what you think. Tell me what picks you liked. Tell me what picks you didn't like. Tell me what you would have done differently. And while you're here, if you don't mind subscribing to the channel, that'd be cool too. So until next time, we're going to continue our 7-round mock draft series with another team from the AFC East. My name's Dom C of Project Prospect, and we'll catch you soon.